I think, a sense of how Trump is not addressing any of the concerns of the American public. And I think Trump really, he may not care as long as Elon Musk is around, because he may feel like Musk's money is going to protect him. And at the very least, like, he's got the Supreme Court has already said that he's not capable of being prosecuted.
That's part of why he ran for president again. What, if not the motivating reason, which was, I need to get these 92 court cases off my back, and he's succeeded. So, like, what is his agenda now? What does he care about now? I think maybe he has some dirty deal with these crypto bros about his meme coin. That's my theory right now, is getting rich off of that. And that's why having Elon Musk around.
Oh, he's made so much money just in the past 6 months.
Right.
And I think he sort of feels like he has no jeopardy. There's no jeopardy going to jail. He's got Musk doing most of the work. He can play golf. He can work 2 or 3 days a week, maybe. And so I don't know how much he cares, but it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for the people who don't feel like they're going to be, dead in the next 10 years. And they're not Donald Trump in terms of the Republican politicians. Here's Harry Enton.
Rutrow, the reboot not as well received as the original. Economy is currently good or excellent. Look at this. In April of 2017, it was 40%. Look at where we are in February of 2025, just half that level. 20%. My goodness gracious. The term one high was 63% of Americans in February of 2020 thought the economy was excellent or good. This 20% we have currently going on right now is fewer Americans saying the economy is excellent or good than at any point during Trump's first term. This is not a good sign, Kate Baldwin.
J.D. Vance said last week, you got to give them time, even though that's not what they promised in the campaign. They said they bring prices down day one. But what is the view of the future economy then?
Yeah, so this is the current economy.
Oh, pause it for 1 second. Oh, that's interesting. J.D. Vance said that? I didn't realize he was still vice president.
Right. Elon Musk is the guy that's always being seen publicly.
Isn't
Trump.
Vance the one who brings, like, who's basically caddying for Trump?
I mean, that's a really quick drop off. The honeymoon period. This is
very quick.
I've never seen something like this, really. I mean, Joe Biden, I'm looking at his, when he finally crossed, according to the 538 average, the more disapproval than approval in September of 2021. So it was an 8-month, essentially, honeymoon period, and people mark that by the Afghanistan withdrawal. This is a month for Donald Trump. I mean, even less. Like, those are the economic numbers. But we also saw last week, I headlined this, multiple polls showing that within, I guess it was Quinnipiac, that he had a 10-point increase in disapproval rating to make it above 50% disapproval within less than a month. And then the economic numbers are showing it as well.
Said last week, you got to give them time, even though that's not what they promised in the campaign. They said they bring prices down day one. But what is the view of the future economy then? Yeah, so this is the current economy. How about the future economy? Is the economy getting worse or better? And all I can say is, yikes. Yikes. Again, compare it to where we were in the first term at this point, April of 2017, 53%. The majority said it was getting better. How about now in February of 2025? The majority say it's getting worse, 59% compared to just 35% who say it's getting better. Worse is higher now than at any point in Trump's first term pre-COVID. This number, to me, is much more worrisome. Perhaps the worst number I've seen for Trump on the economy, because it says even if the economy now isn't great, they also project that it's only going to get worse from here. This is a big, big yikes. And fold in inflation, just like general views on inflation. Yeah, okay. So I think the question is, what's exactly cooking here? What is going on? You know, there's this whole idea that Trump was going to bring down inflation, right, Kate? So what are Americans actually saying? You know, are Google searches for inflation going down or going up? They're going up. They're up 123% from February of 2017. And more than that, perhaps even more important, they're up 23%
from last month. Americans' fears about inflation are not going away. They are as interested in it as they were by the end of the Joe Biden administration. And the bottom line is they're far more interested in it than they were at any point during Donald Trump's first term. As I said at the beginning, the reboot, the sequel, is not being anywhere near as well received as the original.
There it is.
That is, that's the most important, I think, number. The idea that over the past month, people have gotten more concerned about inflation, and they certainly can't, there would be no way for anyone to assume that the federal government is doing anything about inflation right now. In fact, I think the thing that they don't understand, that folks like Russell Vogt and Republican lawmakers don't understand, is that I don't think there's the same hostility towards the federal government that they think there is.
No.
And federal government workers. And on top of which, they, I think the idea of people losing their jobs willy-nilly, literally willy-nilly, creates anxiety amongst other people. I don't, you know, if you see your neighbor lose their job, if you see two people on your block lose their job, you start to get worried about your job. If you start hearing about people losing their job, 1,500 at, you know, at the VA and 1,500 there and 1,500 there, you start to worry that maybe your job is not so safe, even if it's just being done randomly by some billionaire.
Right. I mean, this might be just a good time to show that map of like when they're cutting this federal workforce, how destabilizing it is. Right, Sam, if you agree here, just the Dana Bash quick clip here on CNN showing the map of the states that voted for Donald Trump and how many people work for the federal government in those states.
As you kind of digest that, there's something else that our team put together, and I think that this is really critical for people to understand. Look at this map. That is a map of where federal workers are who are living in the states that Trump won. Look at that number. It's almost 1 million people. So yes, it's own Washington, drain the swamp, all the things. But the reason why we are starting to see and hear more concern and even backlash around the country, and even from Republican House members and senators, is because these are their constituents.
Can we just keep that map up for just a second there so we can see it? Nearly 130K federal workers in Texas. I mean, that's a very populous state. But Oklahoma, 41,000 people? As you say?
60.
I mean, North Dakota, Matt, less than 1 million people living in that state, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, probably 750,000 less. I checked.
These
5,600?
people have families, they have friends, the anxiety spreads throughout. Remember, on top of this, you can lay on top of this all the cuts to the grants and, like, you know, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like we you know, Alabama, what was it? University of Alabama, was it?
Yep.
Like the biggest employer in the state relies heavily on NIH grants.
University of North Dakota gets a lot of NIH grants.
And they're gone away. People are freaking out.
Right. I mean, look at Georgia there. That's a really important state. Almost 80,000 federal employees there. Off the top of my head, I believe there are many FAA workers down there, but I could be wrong.
And 20,000 West Virginia, can they afford to just eat 20,000 layoffs?
Yeah.
The amazing thing is that I still remember when we were told the government doesn't create jobs.
Oh, sorry. It was the CDC in Atlanta.
And
that's where it is.
Think about what's
Yes.
happening. The government is taking money through progressive taxation from billionaires and millionaires and employing people across all of these different states to do jobs for society. And we're told that's waste.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.